Prime Minister Narendra Modi has now attacked the Gandhi family on the anniversary of emergency. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said emergency an unforgettable period in Indian history. He also said emergency is against the values of our constitution. Against the values our constitution celebrates. Shehzad Poonawala from the BJP is now joining me. Shehzad, the BJP has been speaking about what a dark period emergency was. Prime Minister Narendra Modi now clearly saying the emergency an unforgettable period in Indian history.
Today is the darkest day of Indian parliamentary and constitutional history. 48 years ago, Indira Gandhi stifled the constitution of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, trampled upon our constitutional rights, ensured parliament becomes a complete puppet, said that the media should be censored, made a committed judiciary, put lakhs of Indian people and political leaders like Vajpayee and George Fernandez into jail without any due process. And today, this family, for the sake of its own political power, scripted the worst chapter, the black day of Indian democracy, and therefore this family should be apologizing. But 48 years later, they continue to assault the Indian democracy, whether in India or on foreign soil, when the person who carries the DNA of emergency, namely Rahul Gandhi, goes on foreign soil and demands intervention into Indian democracy. Therefore, clearly nothing has changed. 48 years ago, his grandmother assaulted Indian democracy, and today he continues the assault on Indian democracy. And what is ironic, Aishwarya, is only this, that those who were born out of resisting emergency, the likes of Lalu Prasad and Mulayam Singh Yadav, who were created out of the JP Andolan and the Sampurn Kranti, have now done a Sampurn Bhranti, and they sit with those who carry the emergency DNA. They were put in jail by Indira Gandhi for the first time in their political careers. They were created and resisted the emergency, and therefore they were put in jail. But today, they are the ones who are continuing to be in alliance, or at least promoting and projecting those who carry the DNA of emergency. That is the Sampurn Bhranti we see in Patna, and we see this family continuing to assault the Indian democracy like they did on foreign soil.
Shehzad, the Congress on the other hand has been saying what was done has been done. Why are you now speaking about something that was done almost 50 years ago? The Congress now saying that we are speaking about what's taking place today. The BJP on the other hand wants to only drag us back and only talk about history.
Well, we all know that which family can't get over its Nehru obsession and can't get over its surname obsession, and who look into the past for every time we ask them a question about the present. But having said that, isn't it a continuing assault on Indian democracy that has continued as a chain from this family? 48 years ago, Indira Gandhi assaulted, and today, Rahul Gandhi, when he goes on foreign soil and demands intervention into Indian affairs, isn't that an attack on Indian democracy? When he wins an election in Karnataka and Himachal Pradesh, and democracy seems to be working fine where he can win an election, he still goes on foreign soil and says that Indian democracy is dead. This is not an assault on Indian democracy. So this continuing assault on Indian democracy is the reason what shows that this family has learned nothing from its mistakes, and therefore it is necessary for not only to pay homage to those martyrs who laid down their lives in order to protect Indian democracy, but also to remind this first family of emergency that they owe a very big apology to all of us and to the constitution of Baba Saheb Ambedkar.
Thank you, Shehzad, BJP spokesperson, for joining me on the broadcast on this story. The BJP and the Prime Minister now targeting Congress over the emergency that was imposed for 21 months in the country. My colleague Milan is also joining me on the story now. Milan, it seems like the BJP once again trying to rake up the emergency issue and now going ahead and asking the Congress party, the Gandhis, to apologize.
Well, Aishwarya, democracy and its values remain very important to a country like India. And of course, on a day when the emergency was declared, the June 25th, it was known as one of the darkest days. It's still called one of the darkest days by the Prime Minister. And he does tweet that all those who resisted the emergency imposed by Mrs. Indira Gandhi, of course, this is a fact that she imposed the emergency, and all sorts of constitutional rights such as right to freedom, equality, fundamental rights of movement, and everything was kept at abeyance. The right to elections was kept at abeyance at her behest, and this seems to be this seems to be an amazing U-turn now, for the fact that the Congress party had imposed the emergency, the leader of the Congress party, and now they have nothing to defend on this. But absolutely, these are days in the history that we have seen as a country which do not go down well now when linked with the Congress party. And of course, the BJP there, at least the Prime Minister, has tweeted about it to clearly say that these dark days will not be forgotten, and all those leaders that emerged out of the emergency who were jailed at that point, even the media was gagged at that point. All this will be remembered today.
Right, Milan. Thank you. My colleague Milan Sharma now joining us with all the details on the fight that is taking place between the BJP and the Congress over the emergency.